days before Barack Obama won the 2008 election, Jay-Z led a campaign rally in Virginia and knocked the pundits for underestimating that senator from Illinois.
All the pundits and everybody believe would not happen. When you vote and they see the astounding numbers and that Virginia can be a blue state.
And then Jay-Z did what he does. He got poetic.
We have to make history happen, so that young lady right there, maybe she could be president one day. You understand? Obama's run.
Now, Jay-Z dropped his 13th album this week, 444. That title marks the moment he says the album began, waking up at 4:44 in the morning. And he wrote this first line: "Look, I apologize, often womanize. Took for my child to be born, see through a woman's eyes. Took for these natural twins to believe in miracles." The lines are an apparent response to his wife Beyonce's last album, Lemonade, which publicly confronted him over infidelity and then explored a path back to forgiveness and family. Jay's new album offers apology, soul-searching, and a highly personal vision of a new masculinity. A man who can be sorry, be wrong, be humiliated by his own mistakes, and still be proud of his work, his family, and his powerful wife. Like most Jay-Z albums, this one has instant classics and lines that are instantly part of the culture. We can report for you today that people are already selling shirts with his new line, "What's better than one billionaire? Two." 444 does not only look inward. Jay challenges the notion that successful black Americans can simply transcend their race, comparing that to the house-field divisions of a plantation, and rapping that he will stay in the field even after success. He says, "Go shine cutlery, go play the quarters where the butlers be. I'm gonna play the corners where the hustlers be." Now, that plantation duality he speaks of is a tribute to Malcolm X's famous 1963 speech, arguing that the house and the field still apply. And he declared, Malcolm X, that he identified with the field. But 444 is not just a college seminar. Jay's bravado and wordplay also on display. He's got barbs for Drake and Bill Cosby and, count them up, 53 other people named on this album's tour through pop culture. And he's back with the trademark couplets that take longer to unpack than they take to say. Like when he raps, "Nobody wins when the family feuds, but my stash can't fit into Steve Harvey's suit." Note the layers to the bravado. Jay wants to avoid more family fighting. Okay. Steve Harvey hosts the show Family Feud. Harvey is famous for his wildly oversized suits, so Jay-Z's stash is so large it can't even fit in that big yellow suit. And stash can refer to money or a mustache, a play on Steve Harvey's mustache, and it can also, of course, refer to drugs, which dealers sometimes hide in the lining of their suits. So that is a lot of entendre packed into just 15 words. Last year, Jay-Z ranked his 12 albums. He said 4 were classics. 444 is clearly one of his better albums. It may prove to be a classic, too. Joining me now for more, I'm honored to say, is the legendary rapper Pete Rock, who's released 10 hip-hop albums, Hot 97 DJ Peter Rosenberg, who's interviewed Jay-Z, and author Amy Barnett, a former editor-in-chief of Ebony magazine. Can I say, I'm going to shake Pete Rock's hand because he's here. I don't know where to start. I could start with any of the legends.
Any way you want. Any way you want.
What do you think of this album?
I mean, I was waiting until midnight. The day was coming out, so after midnight I was on it. And listening to it lyrically, it really can change your whole perspective on thinking, like, in reality of life. You know, he's saying, you know, better your credit, you know, step your game up as a human being. And, you know, that, you know, he took some stages from when he first started all the way up to, you know, it's growth, you know what I'm saying, up to this album. That's what I like about it.
What do you think he's saying about what it means to be a man?
I love what he's saying, period, on the whole album, actually. The message that he's bringing across is really inspiring, you know, and I have 2 kids that I want to learn about. You know, my son, he's into computers and video games, but music also. So, you know, I want to teach him, you know, the right way on, you know, just how to be his own man.
Yeah. Amy, what do you think?
I mean, the album is incredible. You know, the mental and emotional impact is tremendous. But I also think that it's really interesting to see how he has evolved on a certain level, but also how his message has remained consistent. You know, we never got a chance to see, you know, Big with kids or, you know, Tupac nearing 50. And the fact that, you know, Jay is still as important culturally and now politically as he is incredible. And I'm just really interested in the whole impact of the album. And it's like, in the same way that Lemonade was so relevant and so important for women, I feel like this album is anthemic for men, especially black men. You know, it's like an anthem of male accountability. It's like a call to action for men to manifest their greatness, and it's a blueprint, you know.
A blueprint is a fair word, Amy. Do you think he is giving an example to men, black men, all men, without lecturing?
Well, that's exactly what he's doing. I mean, I think that he and also the whole, you know, Parkwood family, Solange and Beyonce too, with A Seat at the Table and with Lemonade, all of their recent works have this sort of overarching theme of art imitates life, but life can be shaped by art. You know, and I think that he's putting forth this example, this very redemptive example of a man who has obviously made mistakes. He's learned. And now he's telling you what he's learned. He said he's trying to give you, you know, $1 million lesson in $9.99. He's like, okay, you know, fix your credit, buy property, buy black, and while you're at it, you know, love your family and love your women like I've learned to do.
Rosenberg?
I mean, this album is super impressive. First of all, what's up, Pete? And
What's
Ari,
up, Pete?
congrats, bro. But I just want to say this is a really special thing because I always talk about we used to always say hip hop was a young man's game, and really it was that because we had not gotten to this point yet. And Amy, to your point about not getting to see Big and Tupac get to that age, we're getting to see Jay get to that stage in his career that we got to see Mick Jagger get to. We got to see Bruce Springsteen get there. Yeah. And I think a lot of people expect that, oh, you know, Magna Carta Holy Grail was okay. Blueprint 3 was okay. That means he's fallen off. No, with legends and icons, they don't fall off. Some of their later albums will be better than others. This happens to be one that really hit. It really hit with the tone. It followed in what Cole and Chance and Kendrick have been doing. It has something more powerful than what had been happening in hip-hop the last few years. It's a great moment for Jay's career. I'm very excited about it.
Amy, this album's not the first time that Jay has literally put his mother's voice on the record. I mean, he has her speaking in songs. But man, did they go further. I'm going to read to you what has gotten a lot of attention because she comes out, although she's obviously his mother, she comes out and talks about being gay and says, living in the shadow, the world's changing. They say it's time to be free, but you live with the fear of just being me. Living in the shadow feels like the safe place to be. No harm for them, no harm for me, but life is short and it's time to be free. Love who you love because life isn't guaranteed, Amy.
Yes, I'm so grateful to him and to his mom for putting this message in the album. You know, there's an unfortunate strain of homophobia that runs through our country and also the African American community. So the fact that they put this message out there that is so inclusive and loving and matter of fact, I think is going to be hopefully impactful for everybody else. It shows that, you know, there's no reason to judge people based on their sexual preferences, and it's also just another moment of emotional rawness and vulnerability and transparency, which has, I think, become a hallmark of Jay's messages.
Pete Rock, take a listen to Jay-Z talking about the business success. I mean, the business is tough no matter what. Yeah. But you know better than I do. It seems like the music industry is extra tough, extra shicey.
Well, so, you know what? It's a learning process. You know, even from young, because when I was young, I didn't know anything about, you know, the business side, and then I just learned as I went along.
So here he is talking about how he did that. This is a 2013 interview.
Okay.
Well, I can walk that line between, you know, putting out great art and, you know, getting paid for my art. I just happen to be really good at
the music business. I personally don't believe anybody could stop me. I really, that's just how I believe. And it was going to be, I was coming. I was destined to be here, and it just is what it is.
You know, we like to make simple, stupid distinctions in television news. So here's my question. Is he, at this point, more businessman than musician?
Yeah, I think that happened for him maybe like some years ago.
Yeah.
You know, I seen the turnaround. You know, I watched almost everyone.
Yeah.
And I seen him, because I've been trying to work with him forever, and then we finally did something on the Watch the Throne. But yeah, as I seen him come up, I seen him becoming more and more, you know, standing straight, tall suits, you know what I mean?
Right.
And just doing the business and landing deals and, you know, just, you know, using his brain.
Right. We have 80 seconds, so Rosenberg and then Amy.
Yeah, I mean, watching his evolution's been incredible. And the one thing I really loved about the messages, the story of OJ is the classic to me that jumps off this album. There's other stuff that's great. That's the classic. And my dad listened to the album, which is crazy because my dad's 70, and the first rap album he ever listened to, even with me as his son, was Damn. And he listened to this album and he said, oh, why isn't it more political? And I said, Dad, if we've learned anything from Trump, it's that being political isn't as important as taking control of your own matters. And that's what Jay delivered on this album.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Amy?
That's really interesting, but we have to remember that Jay just executive produced the Khalif Browder story. So actually, if you listen, a lot of the messages that were put forth during that documentary are actually on this album. So I just want to applaud him for his transparency and for his political messaging and for the impact that this album is sure to have.
Well, exactly, and political doesn't always mean politician. Martin Luther King never ran for office either. Pete Rock, Peter Rosenberg, Amy Barnett, thank you for being a part of this. I really appreciate it. That does it for The Point. And I want to give a special thank you to our producers who work so hard on this show every weekend.